At times, you somewhat appreciated it. It was humanity, after all. What would humanity be without some form of sin? Back in the day I was a religious man, or could have been if I didn't see how people really were. I would often find myself admiring the new inmates as they came in through the onboarding process. Admiring the shades of their auras, not once ever seeing one aura that was identical to the other. Every man's sin was different from the others. Shades of paint mixing in with each other. You could never duplicate the same one. After my time here, I have determined if sin is what I see, then sin is very complex, not something you can make or fake. That was God's plan, after all. Or some other creatures that pulled the strings have moved the skies. Every man had their own fate, their own destiny, their own sins, and their own penance to pay. I knew I had to pay soon for what the rub has shown me and what it has taken from me. I saw it in the mirror every day as I shaved. It wasn't exactly necessary to shave every day, but I did anyway. It was my chance to meditate. It was my chance to stare at my reflection. This was my chance to inspect my aura, to look at myself as others do. It had always been yellow. A brightly burning shade of yellow. Back then I had researched exactly what the yellow aura had meant. It had intrigued me, made me wonder what kind of sin it was, or what had I committed that earned this yellow aura. There was a time where I had thought that maybe the yellow aura didn't mean sin at all, but maybe instead it meant a glowing aura, a sinless aura. An aura that meant to be light, branding him as a warrior of God. An angel of vengeance shrouded in a glowing light, striking down all forms of evil as he saw fit. At least that's what I wanted to believe, that the yellow aura I saw every morning had meant. There were other meanings that the color yellow had meant, some more conventional and acceptable than others. Others, not quite so much. Over the late nights alone, I had read on some websites that yellow was the color of cowardice. The exact opposite of bravery. I refused to believe that was what my yellow aura had meant. Looking back, it was Sunday around 8 in the morning. The time that new inmates were enrolled into the cage. That day I was in charge of signing in the new inmates, taking their prints, reviewing their forms, making sure that everything was in order before I officially introduced them into their new iron bar-encased coffin. One of the new inmates, a guy the locals called the axeman, was rolled in by his caretaker. Axeman was an elderly prisoner, somewhere around 90 years old. His crimes were on par with what many kids have convinced were the crimes of the boogeyman were, as well as the adults, but the difference between the axeman and the boogeyman was that boogeyman was a myth, and axeman was very much real. Before he was rolled into the penitentiary, I had a chance to review his file. 15 counts of domestic abuse. 23 counts of kidnapping. 54 first-degree murders. As I reviewed the doc, it almost seemed comical, the number of crimes the man committed. "You've been busy," I said to myself/himself. Lowly, that way that no one else could hear you. Burglary. Assault, grand theft auto, arson. Jesus Christ, I said to myself. What haven't you done? I tried to continue reading the document when the lights in the corridor went out. He quickly looked around, wondering if the warden had somehow forgotten to pay the electric bill, but no, I knew that it was a trick of the eyes. Apparently, a slip of paper had fallen out, something he had written to the local newspaper. In the dim light I begin to read. Esteemed mortal of New Orleans. They have never caught me and they never will. They have never seen me, for I am invisible, even as the ether that surrounds your earth. I am not a human being, but a spirit and a demon from the hottest of hell. I am what you New Orleanians and your foolish police call the axeman. When I see fit, I shall come and claim other victims. I alone know whom they shall be. I shall leave no clue except my bloody axe, besmeared with the blood and brains of them, whom I have sent below to keep me company. If you wish you may tell the police to be careful not to rile me. Of course, I am a reasonable spirit. I take no offense at the way they have conducted their investigations in the past. In fact, they have been so utterly stupid as to not only amuse me but His Satanic Majesty, Francis Joseph, etc. But tell them to beware. Let them not try to discover what I am, for it was better that they were never born than to incur the wrath of the axeman. I don't think there is any need of such a warning, for I feel sure the police will always dodge me, as they have in the past. They are wise and know how to keep away from all harm. Undoubtedly, you Orleanians think of me as a most horrible murderer, which I am, but I could be much worse if I wanted to. If I wished, I could pay a visit to your city every night. At will, I could slay thousands of your best citizens, and the worst, for I am in close relationship with the angel of death. Now, to be exact, at 12:15, earthly time, on next Tuesday night, I am going to pass over New Orleans. In my infinite mercy, I am going to make a little proposition to you people. Here it is. I am very fond of jazz music, and I swear by all the devils in the nether regions that every person shall be spared in whose home a jazz band is in full swing at the time I have just mentioned. If everyone has a jazz band going, well, then, so much the better for you people. One thing is certain, and that is that some of your people who do not jazz it out on that specific Tuesday night, if there be any, will get the axe. Well, as I am cold and crave the warmth of my native Tartarus, and it is about time I leave your earthly home, I will cease my discourse. Hoping that thou wilt publishes this, which it may go well with thee, I have been, am, and will be the worst spirit that ever existed either in fact or realm of fancy. I recall thinking, what type of crazy is this, and then the room appeared to have dimmed, but truly the lights were still on. I was looking directly up into the fluorescent bulbs hanging directly above me. My eyes told me that they were still lit, but deep in the recesses of my mind, they had gone out. Spiritually, I felt darkness approaching. No, I knew darkness was coming to the cage. Stay paranoid, my friends.